pleased to be hosted by CLC. And basically what we're doing is bringing art experiences to the disabled and elderly community who they may not be able to get to some of these museums and things. But sometimes we get an opportunity to talk about particular artists. And this is a real exciting opportunity for me because I've been following Jeffrey Paul's photography for a long time because he is my nephew. And I've seen the work he's done. I've found it really intriguing. And he is going to tell us about it. He is currently a student at the Art Institute of Chicago. And that's just like a great school for learning art and photography. So Jeffrey, tell us about kind of your journey to becoming a photographer. I know you have a
Yeah.
presentation for us.
Hello everyone. I'm Jeffrey Paul. This is my artist talk. So I'm just gonna go through my little journey as a photographer. Starting out, hello and welcome to my presentation. My name is Jeffrey Kodiak Paul. I was born in Colorado, then I moved to Idaho, and then San Jose, California. My parents divorced, and I moved into a small town, and I was raised with my mom and my little sister Molly. I always really liked cars and animals, and I also liked art. I did musical theater, some art classes, and ceramics, which I really loved. And I'm a fourth generation photographer. My uncle on my mom's side is a professional photographer. His dad was a photography teacher, and then his dad was a photographer, I believe, in World War II. So long line passed down there. And my current hobbies include photos, cycling, going to the lake in Chicago, and collecting watches. Currently wearing a Seagull 1963. And there's me in a little race car when I was very young. Um, so I'm gonna fast forward. I always did a little photography on like my DS, which is a little like video game system, but it wasn't very good. So I'm just gonna fast forward to when I got my first iPhone 7 in 2016. And I made an Instagram account called Shot on iPhone 7 where I just posted my photos. These photos were pretty early. I was around 12, 13. But I'm still pretty proud of these photos to this day, just for how old I was and how I was just experimenting with, editing photos, shooting photos, angles, all of that. So you can get a little example there. And then when I turned 15 for my birthday, I got a DSLR. And this was my first time having like a real camera with like real settings besides just a phone. And I was really obsessed with mostly just taking photos of whatever I thought was interesting, which is kind of what I still do. Um, Mostly just like my pets or travel, or I had some fun with like a long exposure at the bottom left, with my mom, or I was really into taking photos of stars too.
I have a question. Can you tell us what a DSLR is?
Yes. A DSLR is a digital single lens reflex. So it's basically just like when you see like a photographer with like a big kind of bulky camera with a big lens on the front, that's a DSLR. It's like a professional camera versus like a phone.
Mhm.
Um,
Thanks.
Yep. So shot on iPhone 7 continues. Most of these were shot on my DSLR, but I kept the name. And it was still just kind of taking photos of what I thought was fun. I did start a little bit of Photoshop, which you can see at the top left and the bottom right. I took photos of my pets again, took photos of graffiti. Um, One of my favorite photos at the time was the middle one, the bottom middle, which was a lightning bolt over Lake Como. I was very proud of that photograph. Um,
It's like the decisive moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. What I did is I left the shutter open for a long time, and then the second I saw the lightning, I closed the shutter, so it captured it.
Well, can I ask you about a couple other images we're looking at
Yeah.
here? The one in the left-hand corner, how did you do that? What is how does one get that kind of effect?
The top left,
Yeah, top left.
that was Photoshop. It was a long time ago. I'm pretty sure I traced like the silhouette, and then I just kind of pasted it into a color in Photoshop, and then just dragged it, and then did that again, and then dragged it. Um,
Yeah, and then the one right next to it, the with the pink, what is that pink?
So that is an infrared photo. So it's basically when you put a filter over your camera and it only captures infrared light, which is only reflected by plant life. And so it makes the plant life stand out as a single color,
No,
which
I like all these actually, but I like those two in particular.
thanks. And then fast forward a little bit more. I started abandonment in 2020. It was my final project for my first semester of junior year. It was my first real cohesive photo project that wasn't just bringing my camera around with me. I spent forever on sequencing and editing the photos. It was my first time doing that for both. I really thought about which ones should come first, which ones should come last, thought about like cohesion through the colors, thought about all of that. And my mom, who's here today, she really supported me. She drove me to all the locations and then offered to bail me out if I got in trouble with security or whoever because I was trespassing. Um, And I photographed a mushroom farm and a little residential house. Both were abandoned in my neighborhood. And my class and my teacher really loved it. And she
Did your
cheered.
mom have to bail you out? Did you know?
No, I've never gotten caught or
Not
anything
yet.
like that. Not yet. I don't do it anymore because I don't really want to get caught. And here's some of those photos. I'm still really proud of these photos to this day. I think they're really impressive for me being 17. And I think they still hold up, especially the bottom left one has gotten a lot of love. Sold a bunch of prints of it. And I think it's a beautiful photograph.
I think it's what I like about it is you the window, right? You're both
Mhm.
inside and outside at the same time. Uh,
Exactly.
and it's pretty it's this is an abandoned house.
That is an abandoned little trailer
Uh-huh.
in an abandoned farm.
So kind of like there's almost a narrative there you could think about,
Mhm.
like, well, who was here? What happened? Why did they have to leave? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Um, So
How about
yeah,
the one? Let's go back. How about the one in the upper right-hand corner? Tell us about that.
that was in the abandoned house. It was just this kind of archway inside the house. I'm not entirely sure what it used to be, but someone spray painted like a face where the arch was the mouth, and I just thought that was kind of creepy and just very like it was personifying the house a little bit, which I thought the house was haunted, which I think it was. So it kind of shows that off. And I took the photo like at an angle, so it's more like chaotic.
Uh-huh. I noticed you had graffiti in the earlier set of
Mhm.
photographs too. So you're seems like you have an eye for that. You're looking around at the environment, even things like graffiti that most of us just say, "Oh, that's just ugliness." You're looking for some beauty in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like to see how the graffiti interacts with the environment it's in. Um, And then in 2021, I started shooting film. It was my first time ever shooting film, which, yes, people still shoot film to this day. Um, this was mostly just me going back to my old style of bringing my camera with me everywhere I went and photographing what I thought was cool. Um, you can see my sister at the bottom left. You can see we brought my car to Lake Tahoe and we took some pictures of it when we went off-roading. My grandpa took me to these abandoned houses in New North Carolina, and then I did some still lifes too.
So if you're visiting someone, they're gonna want to take you to an abandoned house.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing back then, and everyone that I knew would be like, "Oh, I know this place." Like so many people knew all these places that they would just take me to, and that was fun.
Yeah, you've got the one in the bottom right-hand corner.
Hmm.
And is that an abandoned house or is that like people are still
Yeah,
living there? It's
that was
just
abandoned.
because I think that brown on the side of it is really that design is really intriguing.
I think it's some sort of mold or rust or moss. Um,
Would hate to see that on my house, but it
yeah,
is interesting to look at.
yeah, it is. Um, So and then skirt photography begins, which skirt is kind of like it's like a thing in rap, basically where like You say skirt skirt, it means like when a car like squeaks its tires. Um, so I started taking photos of cars on the road as they just drove past me, which is you can see the top right, that's what that is. Because I got really into cars during COVID. Um, and then I wanted subjects. So I made an Instagram post and I was like, hey, do you have a car that you just got? Because we were all 16. And do you want to show it off? I'll take photos of your car, completely free of charge and just for practice. And my first shoot was my childhood friend Matthew with his BMW. I got some photos of him doing donuts in it, and he paid me $50 just because of how much he loved the photos, and I was addicted. I could not stop taking photos of cars after that. Um,
Do you still do that? Are you still doing skirt skirt?
Not really. I think Skirt Skirt's been retired or at least put on pause. Um, I It's not really doable in Chicago just because no one I know has cars. And it's kind of sad the like car scene in Chicago is kind of intertwined with the gang scene, and that's just not something I want to get
Uh,
involved with at all.
yeah.
So I've kind of put it on pause. Maybe, if I move to California again or wherever I move, I can restart it. Um, but yeah, and then there's Matthew with his BMW.
Where was that taken?
That was taken in Morgan Hill, California.
Okay, some parking garage in Morgan Hill.
Parking garage, yeah.
Right.
And then you can see I continued skirt skirt. So the top left, I had a childhood friend who's actually a race car driver now, and I took photos of him training. Um, that was one of the most fun days of my life. I just got to ride this little scooter around the racetrack, and um, it was kind of interesting because me and him, when we were little kids, we went to the racetrack to see the races, and then now grown up, I went to see him racing. So that was kind of full circle and kind of crazy. Um, you can see that pink BMW. That was a guy that I met at an auto shop. I took photos of his car. I went to a lot of car shows, which is the middle one, middle bottom. And then the top middle, our next door neighbor had a Mustang and he let me photograph it in our parking lot.
Let me ask you about the on the left side in the middle,
Yeah.
that photograph. I really like the composition of that. I like those diagonal lines. And is that something you did through cropping, or is that something when you composed the photograph and took it, you were already thinking about, I want these lines to be doing this thing?
That's the photo. I didn't crop it at all. That's exactly how it came out of the camera. I think I really liked the the red and white.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to kind of capture that and like the kind of like paneling, like the brown dirt, the red and white, the gray, the car, and then the brown again. Um, that's how I thought of it. I thought of it as like kind of color blocks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So to think like a photographer, you go to a place and you look at the geography and you think in terms of like this rectangle box.
Hmm.
Here's,
Yeah.
I can
Kind of.
make this rectangle here and get all these different elements. Am I right about that?
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it. You're just kind of thinking, how do I frame everything? You see things as like combinations of shapes, I think I would say.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I love how the car is centered on the
Hmm.
roadway, kind of centered in the photograph,
Hmm.
framed by the lines. Yeah.
And then this is a continuation. I did so much of this. The motorcycle in the top left was a family friend. Just did some other shoots for friends' parents who had really nice cars, like the blue car or the Porsche at the bottom. And then on the right was the family friend with his motorcycle again, and that was one of my favorite pictures I took for a long time. And he absolutely adored those photos. I'm pretty sure he got them framed like really big, like in his office or something, which is always really cool when someone does that.
Yeah, and again, you framed the person, the photo, the motorcycle with the bridge apparatus.
Hmm.
So you're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Um, with car photography, it's very important to get the street, the road, and then the car, and then the environment around it. Those are basically the three aspects that you want to get every single time. Um,
Huh.
yeah.
That's great. You know, we just look at these things and we think, oh, that looks cool. We don't think about like what makes them up. So
Mhm.
I really like that explanation.
And then I started CSSA, which is the California State Summer School for the Arts. It was a program that my teacher got me to apply to, and I got in. Um, it was college level art classes for a month. They're usually online, but they're usually in person, but they were online because of COVID. It was my first time figure drawing, which you'll see in a second. I had an interview with Pendleton Ward and Alex Hirsch, who are some pretty well-known um, cartoonists. I started doing cyanotypes, and I did sculptural photography, which you'll see
Ooh, are
here.
you going to tell us what sculptural photography is? That sounds
Yeah.
intriguing.
So sculptural photography is when it doesn't have to be a sculpture that you make. It can be really anything that someone else made. It can be even architectural photography. But it's basically when the photo is less about like the form of the photo and more about like the form of the object in the photo, I guess is how I would explain it.
Do you know, like
Um,
documenting a sculpture? Would that be
yeah,
a good description?
yeah. So on the left, you can see that was my final project for sculptural photography. I cast an Arizona tea can out of concrete, and then in Photoshop, I made like a fake Arizona label that said anxiety on it instead
Uh-huh.
of Arizona. And then I put the label on the concrete, and then I took black paint and kind of oozed it out as if like that's the anxiety, like oozing out, because anxiety is like kind of like a black evil sludge, in my opinion. And then you can just see some little physical projects that I worked on to show like texture and color and space. These were just like very simple, like cutting things out, cutting paper out and gluing it together. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then you can see at the bottom, that was my figure drawing, which I had never really drawn in my entire life since I was a little kid. And it was really hard, but I'm honestly pretty proud of how it came out. Um, I think it wasn't really my thing, but I think if I put my mind to it, I could probably do pretty good. Um, but
And you're interacting with people who do that in your in the art school, right?
oh yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of figure drawers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the cyanotype in the upper right.
That one was really fun. That was I used some of my mom's sewing materials and then some plants from the backyard. I just kind of wanted it to have this kind of like um like my kind of old-fashioned like 1800s kind of look to it. Because
Yeah.
that's what stereotypes are from. And yeah.
I would describe it as surreal.
Hmm.
You know, it's just really interesting, like especially you've got the scissors
Hmm.
kind of recognizable, but the lower set of scissors kind of looks like it's morphing into something else.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of, I'm pretty sure those scissors are like, they look like a bird. They look like a little
Mhm.
bird. Um, where like the scissors is the beak. So
Uh-huh.
so that's kind of interesting. Um, and yeah. So I started going to car meets to kind of continue my car photography. It started on a whim, but it got me really hooked because car meets, there was just so many really interesting cars, and the people there were pretty interesting, and I just really got obsessed with wanting to document the culture, the energy, the kind of chaotic nature of car meets. Like what goes on there? Like what do people talk about? Like um, just I wanted to document car meets as best as I could. Um, I think the photos were good, but people really did not like them. Car people just kind of want photos of just the car and mostly just their car. And art people don't like cars really at all. So it wasn't really a project that anybody liked besides me. It also required a lot of driving, sometimes only to miss the meet or have it shut down by police. Um, and my car gets really bad gas mileage, so it was very expensive for me to drive all that way. Um, I was also really nervous with interacting with all the people there, just because I was like a lot younger than most of them, and they just seemed really cool, and like I was just very nervous. I do kind of consider the project like a failure, but I'm still proud of it. I just think it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. But I still kind of want to make it into like a book one day, just a book to show off what car meets in 2022 were like in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like an artist needs to fail to do
yeah,
things that fail because that teaches you so much.
it definitely taught me a lot. Yeah. It taught me, you know, not everyone's gonna love your work. Um, and but that's okay
Yeah,
because
right.
the work.
You're not doing it for
I'm
their
not doing it for them. I'm
approval.
not doing this project for some random dudes. I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah. The other question I have about that is like you are documenting the car meet. There's so many ways of documenting something like that. You could write a article, you could use a film kind of documentary, but
Mhm.
to document something with still photography, I think is a real interesting challenge.
It is.
So you want to tell me about that? How you're going to give people images and they're going to have to infer the information that you're trying to
Mm.
convey. So why don't you talk a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, I definitely see it as a challenge, because I could just a lot easier just make a video or do interviews with people talking about it. So I think with photos, you really have to show off like people's personalities, like just by how they look, and then like the I was really fascinated by like how people's personalities kind of like match the car that they drive. And that was kind of fun to try to show off, but it was very difficult. And
Yeah, like, is it your practice to ask people, like, you're going to tell people in advance, I want to take your photograph?
pretty much no. Pretty much every time I do that, they'll either say no, and then I can't really take the picture without getting them mad at me, or if they do say yes, they usually look stiff and kind of awkward. So my thing is just take the picture of the person. It's not hurting them. It's not illegal. Just take the picture of the person, and if they get mad at me and tell me to delete it, I'll delete it. But um, kind of shoot first, ask questions later, honestly.
You first ask. I like that.
Um, but yeah, so you can see a lot of the work here. I am pretty proud of how well I stuck to a singular color palette. There's lots of really strong reds and blues and greens. Um, and you can see kind of the really chaotic nature of when people would do burnouts and um, everyone's standing around. And there's one with like the flame coming out of the back of the car. This guy was lighting a cigarette out of the flames coming out of the back of a car, which I thought was pretty crazy. It's the second from the left in the middle
Okay, with the license plate
with the
on it.
license plate, yeah.
Huh.
And I was just really, and then towards the end, I got really into trying to take pictures of people with their cars. So like on the far right middle, you can see those two guys in the little kit with their cars. Those guys were super cool. And I asked for that photo because I wanted them to kind of pose. Um,
I want to read a comment from Nikki in chat. She says, I've seen some beautiful and amazing lowrider calendars that the
oh yeah.
guys sell to raise money for their lowrider club. Are you familiar with that, Jeffrey?
Um, I'm familiar with lowriders a little bit, but I did not know that they made calendars for themselves. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do a calendar one day of this.
Yeah.
So you're 17 years old and you're doing all this?
Yeah,
Wow, that's so great. That's wonderful. Is it,
thanks.
I missed a little bit because my cat was outside with a dog, but are you making this a career? Are you able to generate an income from this already?
Yeah,
That's a TBD, Nikki. He's a
I
yeah. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I
Oh,
will get into it later, but I just got out of a 7-month paid internship with the Design Museum of Chicago as their
wow.
photographer.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
great.
I've been making not a ton of money, I'll be honest, but I've been making money out of photography.
wonderful.
And last summer I was a yearbook photographer for high schools. And I made actually pretty good money doing that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I've
great.
been
That's great. You're on your way.
And he's the fourth generation in his family
Wow,
to be
it's
doing this.
wonderful. Wonderful. Congratulations.
thank you.
I'm happy for you. I
Um,
can see the hard work you've put into all these amazing
yeah.
pictures you shared with us.
And I believe your grandfather is
Yep, he's here.
in the
Hey,
room with us.
hey guys.
Hey,
Good to-
Jeff, good to see
Hi,
you.
good to see you too. Love seeing these again, Cody.
Thank
Jeffrey.
you.
They're
Uh,
wonderful.
Yeah. I love that green one with the fog and the exhaust and that ghost car. It's so great.
mhm,
That light in the fog.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
mhm.
yeah, the palette on all of these is great.
Mhm.
It's
So
just
Jeff,
lovely.
what was your reaction when Jeffrey says he sees this as a failed project? What do you think?
Well, I don't think everything you do has to be a roaring success. But as you were saying earlier, learning from everything you do, whether it succeeds or fails, is the important thing. And the more you do, the more you learn. And I was a photography teacher. My dad was one. He was a professional photographer, and one of the things he told me was just take a whole lot of photographs, and then you can choose the
Absolutely.
ones you like.
Mhm.
Take 1,000 photographs of everything. Don't stop, and then you look at them and delete them and choose the ones you think work the best. And as opposed to film in the old days, the decisive moment is what they used to call it. You had to get that one shot on your negative. But nowadays, right, Cody, it's like you just can just,
You go as much as you want. Yeah.
yeah. It's really
Yeah,
an
it's almost
advantage.
like you're not just an image taker, you're a curator.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, that's a huge part of it, is you have to be able to go through 1,000 photos and choose 5 that are the best,
Yeah.
um, which is pretty hard. I took probably like 5,000 photos for this project, and these are really the only ones that I like out of it.
Mm.
Um,
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
yeah.
I want to comment on that top photo, the silhouette of the man with all of the smoke from the burnout behind him. That photo was, I think, one of my favorites of this series because it really captures kind of the chaos of and the energy of a car meet. Does anyone else agree with that photo is, has a lot of motion and a lot of feelings behind it?
Almost has smell, right? You can almost be like,
Mhm.
whoa, it probably smells really strong of something, right?
Great smell.
Also think if you didn't know it was a car meet, it was just a photo by itself on a wall in a gallery or something, you would still think it was a fire. There's this mysterious silhouette of a guy there, and it's a story, and every photo kind of tells a story, right? And that one's got such mystery and suspense and all that
That's
tension.
it.
Great.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
it could even be like a riot,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or a
yeah,
war.
war.
As an art museum guide, I would love to have this on the wall, and I would
Mm.
take a group and say, well, what's going on here? And I'd probably get like 5 or 10 different answers.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and even just graphically, it's so powerful, just that black and white and that tiny bit of color in the upper left corners, just
Mhm.
it's so intense. It's just lovely.
There's also a great contrast visually with the sharp edge of the
Mhm.
solid, flat black figure against its opposite, which is a billowy, soft,
Hold on.
fog. It's so wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We
I
have a
think
comment from Ron in chat. He says, my uncle was a pro photographer. He used to say, film is cheap, but your time is expensive. He would take lots of
true.
pictures and pick out the best. He would get paid $100 or more per picture in the 1970s.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Oh.
So yeah, and usually when we do this program and we look at photographs, Jeffrey, we look at them one at a time. You have chosen to show us a whole bunch together, which I think is really cool. I think it's a really great way for us to experience your photography.
Yeah, it's sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties at the moment.
Are you
You
not
guys,
able to share?
I think I will leave and come back. It like kind of glitched out. I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna have an intermission here.
Okay.
Go ahead, do what you gotta do. Jeffrey, you'll be back in a second. I'm wondering if anybody has any comments they would like to unmute and share on the photography we've been looking at. Anybody want to add to what they've been saying already?
I think we're going to get to it eventually when he comes back, but the work that his early work when he did in high school, like the things we've been seeing, it's so different from his work at the Chicago Art Institute, where he's really exploring the medium in experimental ways and just playing around with how to make a photograph. He's in the darkroom. He's doing a lot of cyanotype and solar prints and things like that. Just exactly what he should be doing in school. It's experimenting and exploring, he's just doing a great job with it. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do this show after I saw his book of photographs that he's taken riding out to small towns around Chicago. So I think we're going to get to that next.
Mhm.
And Jeffrey
coming
is
up.
rejoining us.
Yes, I am.
Oh, but I think we might need to make you a co-host again. Or Jennifer, can you make Jeffrey a co-host? Oh, yeah, there you go. I guess we're good.
Okay.
Be able to share.
Yeah.
Great.
So moving on.
We
Fast
talked
forward a
about you
little
behind
bit.
your back, by the way.
What was that?
We talked about you while you were gone.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So fast forwarding a little bit, I graduated high school. I went to college at SAC, School of the Art Institute of Chicago. My first big project in Chicago was called The Working Loop. It was my final project for my intro to photography class. I wanted to capture pictures of jobs in the loop and compare salaries. I would look up the salaries for those jobs. And then in class, I had a little game where I printed out the salaries on paper and people had to kind of pin them to the photo where they thought it matched. And it kind of was to challenge people's ideas of what jobs were more valuable than others. And it was very successful. Here's some of those photos. So top left, you have kind of like a food truck person, food truck operator. Middle top, you have a trucker. Top right, you have a stage manager. Bottom left, you have a train driver, then a fireman, then a stockbroker, or that's just what I like to think he is. That photo was taken in front of the stock exchange in Chicago. And then after that is a cobbler. So you don't see a lot of cobblers these days. That was pretty interesting. And I also shot all these photos in black and white on digital to kind of call back to like early street photography. This was my first time doing street photography in Chicago as well, so pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty difficult.
Can you talk a little bit about how you were received by people taking pictures of them in the street? Was that difficult for you to muster up the courage to take pictures of people without their consent?
It was pretty hard for me at first. With the stockbroker one, I was trying to be super sneaky where I just kind of had my camera at my side, and when he walked past me, I just kind of like went like click, 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 like shot a bunch of photos really fast to try to get the right one, which I was lucky enough to get it. But for most of these, I don't think the people really knew I was taking the picture. For the train driver one, I did take the picture and then we made eye contact and just kind of went like that. We just kind of like nodded at each other. And so he was cool with it. Um, I've done a lot of street photography since then, and people are usually very cool. They'll smile, they'll go thumbs up, they'll ask you for your Instagram. I've had a few people yell at me. I've had one person like kind of followed me. But you just kind of I almost got in trouble at the Sears Tower. I took a photo of the doorsman and they said that it was illegal to take their picture and they tried to take my film, which I didn't let them take my film because it's perfectly legal. They were on the street. So yeah, you run into some issues, but I think my car photography really kind of helped me get the courage to take more pictures of people on the street.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's artists or photographers like Diane Arbus who, famously would spend a lot of time with her subjects and kind of collaborated with them. And then there's someone like Ali Friedlander who, did almost everything surreptitiously.
Hmm.
And you're right, like it is, if you're out in public, it is okay to take pictures of people without their consent, but you might be an ethical question, you know.
Yeah, it's an ethical question, but I'm not doing anything, wrong with these. It's just for art.
And Jeffrey, can you turn your camera back on? We want to see you.
Oh, I've had it on, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I can see him.
Can see you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe, maybe we need to pin, Jennifer, can
Oh.
you pin Jeffrey? Maybe that was the difference. Yeah, that's what we need to do. All right, let's continue.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm just curious, because I've noticed that the bottom four and the one in the top right and a bit in the middle top, there are all these, it's receding lines. Everything is going back into space, like the guy in the train and the curved lines with the stockbroker and the ceiling and the one over here and then the lights. And is that a conscious thing you do? Or are you just doing it subconsciously because you like it?
I think it's mostly, I mean, I didn't take those photos because there was lines in the background.
Mhm.
But maybe I subconsciously chose those photos because the lines were so good.
Yeah.
Um, I do remember like leading lines was one of the first um like photography concepts that I learned. So probably it still shows up.
Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 They're really great. So dynamic, you know. Just
Mhm.
pull you right in.
So yeah.
And did you take, this is another project where you took a lot of photographs, you know, how many did you think you took to get these?
I think I got most of these in 2 shooting sessions. So probably around like 300.
So you're getting more efficient as you become more
Definitely.
experienced.
Yeah. It's also just easier because a lot of these were in the daytime, and the daytime is actually never mind, most of these are at night. Um the car ones were all at night, and so it's really hard. You have to shoot a lot because I wasn't very good at shooting at night yet. Um but yeah, I think I was getting more efficient. You could say that. So moving on, next semester, I took a large format photography class, which is basically it's film. It's when you have one of those really big cameras that's on a tripod, and you have to go underneath the black carpet, the black, fabric to like look through it. And it's very old-fashioned, and it was very difficult. My camera was actually the size of a mini fridge, basically, and it was really heavy too, and I had to walk around with it everywhere I went to take these pictures, like miles, and it was really difficult. Um, it was my first time developing my own film in the tank with the chemicals and agitation and all of that.
What
Um,
size film was it, Cody?
it was 4x5.
4x5?
I never did 8x10. I was scared of 8x10 because it was I was the
Tell
only
me, wait, why was 8x10 scarier than 4x5?
because the camera is even bigger.
Okay.
And you can't even develop it in a tank. You have to develop it in like a bath. And it takes like a long time to develop like one photo.
Uh-huh.
These I could do 4 at a time with these. Um, and it's pretty expensive. It's really, really expensive. It's probably $20 a photo.
Wow.
More if you're doing color even. So yeah. In this class, I was the only freshman. It was pretty much all seniors and juniors because of how difficult it was. And it really changed how I thought about my work. I had to slow down like crazy. I couldn't just shoot, 1,000 photos in a day. I had to shoot maybe 4 photos in a day. And my final project in this class was a series of landscapes inspired by Ansel Adams, which you can see here. I was a really big fan of Ansel at the time, and I wanted to kind of capture like those landscapes using the zone system and everything, but in an urban setting. And also, it was a way for me to kind of explore Chicago, right? Because I was still new to Chicago at this time. So there's a way for me to walk around and really take in what Chicago was like. My favorite one of these is the bottom right. It's the UIC building in the West Loop. It was one of my favorites because
Yeah, I
of
love the lines.
it is. Yeah, the lines again, the lines. You're seeing them with those again, and it's just I like this photo because it just looks so crisp and geometric, and the focus is perfect, and you have the trees framing it, and I'm a really big fan of that one. I have it printed really big.
So you had how much time did you spend walking around that building before you found a vantage point that you thought would be good?
I went there before without the camera to kind of scope it out. So I spent probably like 20 minutes, and then I found like a really good vantage point with the trees and everything, and then I came back with the camera to shoot it.
What
I
do you
love
like
how the
about
Sears Tower is this little miniature thing in the background.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Have
We
you
have a
been
question
to
from
this
Gail
tower?
on chat. She says capturing, she's referring to the last set of pictures. Capturing pictures of workers in the 2020s is important. It's a moment in time. For example, how does a cobbler look different today versus the 50s or 1800s or whenever? So it is kind of an interesting like snapshot of our,
Mhm.
our times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Moving on. So then we get to American Electric, which is my ongoing project. Um, Nowhere near completion. I think I'll do it for the next couple of years, if not longer. It's documenting small towns and suburbs around Chicagoland. It was inspired by the summer months in 2023. I made a friend who was really into trains, and so we rode all the Chicago trains to get as far away from Chicago as we could without using Amtrak. And they moved away, and I missed them a lot, so I decided to kind of honor that by continuing to do it and to just document the towns at the very end of the line. Um, it was inspired heavily by Todd Heido, Joel Sternfeld, and Alex Soth, which are some of my all-time favorite photographers. The bottom middle photo, you'll see that showing up a lot. That's probably one of my favorites from the series. I mean, it demonstrates American Electric like perfectly because it's an electric sign. And yeah, so
Are we going to go through that book, the American
yeah,
Electric book?
yeah, we're almost
Good,
done with
because
this.
I would like to do that. Spend more time looking at that photograph,
Okay.
in particular. But all it's the series of images is really what inspired me to do this show.
Okay. We could just skip to that if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Do you have any of the images, like a single image that will fill the screen so we can look at it a little bit clearly, or are they?
That's what we're gonna do with the book.
Okay.
The book, it's just one photo on each slide.
And I am a fortunate owner of that book. I really, really love it.
Mhm.
And we haven't really talked about that, but that's something you like, that medium. You like to combine your photographs.
Yes. I took a photo book class with one of my favorite teachers ever, Robert Clark Davis. He's a legend. And let me share this real quick. Cool. And then how do we full screen? View. Enter full screen. Okay, there we go. So this is the book that came out of American Electric. I'll just get into how I got into books. I took a class with Robert Clark Davis, and he really hammered in sequencing, how important sequencing is, and we did a little bit of work on binding. Was not really my favorite. So I get most of my books professionally made now, or I have a friend make them for me. And all that American Electric work of going to the end of the line and documenting those towns got put into this book that I gave out for a Christmas present last year. And then just to put it out there, actually, I'll wait for the end to say that. So yeah, here's the cover.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, I mean, I already know what's going on here, but I'm wondering if anybody who doesn't know what's going on here would care to guess what are we looking at? What are the elements that compose this photograph?
Well, he's in a train, isn't he? Aren't you, Cody? You're
Yeah,
inside the train? Yeah.
it's
And so I guess it
And
drives
what do
by.
you see that makes you say that, Jeff?
Well, the reflection across the top under the title
hmm
is the inside reflecting off the light of the window or something, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
And to sort of follow the image when you're moving in a train, I assume you're moving, Cody, but when you go by and you got to keep that lens on the image that you want, otherwise it'll be blurry with the
Mhm.
shutter speed for this low light. It's just brilliant with that. It looks almost like a fake sunset, or something up there.
That's true.
Yeah. And then all those skeletal, lines with the cell phone towers and the telephone lines and all that with that one burst of color, and it happens to be the American flag. It's so Robert Frank in a way, if you know what I
Mhm.
mean. I love it.
We have a couple of comments in chat I'd like to share. Lorna
Yeah.
says the sky plays a big role. And I think let's like sit with that for a second. Like I love the clouds and there's a bit of it's like a drama, I think. And
Mhm.
also you see the sky and then you also see it in that reflected light. That's a real interesting combination.
Mhm.
Gail says, I joke that the Chicago Metro is the female version of the Metro. And Lauren says the flag looks 3D and superimposed. Yeah, it does. You're like, was that really what was like? First of all, why is there a screen on what looks to be a smokestack? That in and of itself is rather strange, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's America.
Emily says, I like that we can see the train windows in the sky.
Yeah.
Did you know when you took this photograph that it was going to be a really great one?
Um, I I think I do remember when I took it and I looked at the back of the camera and it popped up. I was like, that is good. That's a good one. Um,
That's right. You get to see it right away. But
yeah.
I think one of the things that really makes it is just how sharp the flag is.
Yeah, it's very sharp. Can we zoom in? Yeah, we can see.
Emily says that's a banger, is what he says.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we should keep going just because
Keep going.
we have about 10 more minutes for the show.
So this is, do you think we should read this or
Maybe
I
not.
can explain it? Okay, it's kind of what I've already explained. Um, so
I think this image, it really shows you how you're drawn to color.
uh
Yeah, also, I guess you're trying to show us that each page, the book is, of course, two pages opposite each other. So you often are pairing up your images.
yeah, let me see if I can show them next to each other.
Yeah, okay, that's a little better.
Here we go. Because they're all diptychs. Um, yeah, so this was in I believe Harvard, Illinois. Um, I'm a really big fan. The Metro has these great green windows, and I take advantage of them a lot. Because it's such a great shade. And this is the photo of the conductor through the window.
Uh-huh.
And these two, I put them together because they both have something coming through a window. On the right, you got the American flag coming through a window, which the American flag is a recurring theme in this book. Um,
And the stripes.
Yeah, there's both stripes. That's true.
Mm.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and yeah, Lorna says lots of horizontal lines. And the horizontal lines in the photograph on the left have color. They're kind of got this orange fading
Yeah,
to yellow. So that's really intriguing.
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's like looking into an aquarium or something.
Mhm.
In windows.
And then this one, same town, same day. Again, taking photos through the window, very Todd Hido. This house, I just thought it was really interesting. This kind of red, sinister red shining through the windows. Um, I thought it looked very sinister, very evil. And then on the right, that was some sign for like a strip mall. And I thought it was really interesting how a lot of them are flipped around, and make it kind of hard to read. Um, and I thought a little bit, some of it was just kind of like ironic, like fun plus tobacco. Like, I don't know if that's what you think of when you think of fun, or like Chinatown, Chinese restaurant. It's like we're nowhere near Chinatown. This is just like, I just thought it was kind of ironic, maybe a little bit depressing. Like if I lived here, and this is like all my town had, I would be a little
And,
depressed.
and you got to ask, like, why is one of them backwards and why is one of them upside down?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Like, I don't know what, and I like the fact that we will never really know the answer, I don't think.
mhm.
In the piece on the left, I don't see it as sinister. It feels sweet and sad to me rather than sinister. But I love that piece. I love that one on the left.
It's like these pictures tell us stories, and we might not all pull the same story from the pictures.
Mm.
And yeah, I just love the color. I think, obviously, Jeffrey, you're drawn to color. You're always looking for,
Oh yeah.
and you've got, I think, a palette too. You always have a
Yeah.
lot of reds.
Yeah, you can see how these photos kind of have a through line to the car meet photos at night with the really strong reds shining through. And I just love lush, saturated, bright colors that just pop out like that green on the sign of the red, or yeah.
We have a theory from Ron. He says maybe when the business is closed, they turn the signs around instead of removing them.
That's
So
what I've heard.
or maybe you like if your sign is backwards, it means you're struggling financially, and if you're upside down, it means it's over. You're in you're
Oh,
chapter 11.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just super intriguing.
Yeah.
it is, yeah. Um, Moving on. This is a spread. This was taken in Fox Lake, Illinois. It was around Halloween time, and this right when I got there, the sun just had this beautiful golden hour, this beautiful red golden hour, and it just felt so October, or I think it might have been November, but it just felt so fall and so Halloween, and it reminded me a lot of like suburban life growing up, that like nostalgia of growing up in a suburb. Um,
Yeah,
and
and so did you time your trip so you would be there when the sun was setting, or you like night a lot too, right?
I like Nate a lot. A lot of these were just very impulsive. Like I would get out of class, have not had the best day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go take the train somewhere. I'm just gonna
Uh,
get out of Chicago. Um, Nowadays when I do it, it's a little more planned out. I look at the weather, look at like the train times, look at all that. But these early ones were very, very impulsive. Which it's kind of impulsive to go somewhere 60 miles away without a car, not even knowing if there's a train home that day. Maybe there isn't. Maybe you have to get someone else to drive you. You never know. Which that did happen one day. I had to like beg people to come pick me up and drive me home because there is no train. Um, but yeah, so this is in Fox Lake too. Something about Midwest is you have these giant water towers in every small town, which I don't believe California really has. So a big part of this project is also like what is different about the Midwest versus California, where I grew up. Um, which part of that is those water towers? You see the light reflecting off it from the sun going down, and then on the right you got another American flag, but it's kind of like it's bent. It's not very proud. So it's like, why is it like that? Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
like
deserted streets and no
Yep.
people, and you can barely see the conductor in the train. It's almost like a Twilight Zone kind of
Hmm.
feeling, where's everybody?
Yeah, exactly. These towns are interesting because you barely see anyone ever, even in the middle of the day on the weekend. You just don't see anyone. Everyone's just in their cars. So it's
Mm.
like like street photography, but without the people.
Yeah.
And if you do see someone, they're usually kind of like alone and kind of mysterious. So I think there's only like a few photos of people in this entire book.
Mhm.
But yeah.
We have a comment from Gail I really want to read. It says, it's so interesting to hear about the early days journey of a budding artist. The early days are so important. They inform what comes next. Peeps traditionally know the famous, well-known part of an artist's life story, but if not for the formative journey, the artist wouldn't be who they are. So I think you're giving us some insights into that, Jeffrey.
Yeah, exactly.
Rodney,
Um,
that reminds me about the golf to your left.
Yeah, it reminds you of golf. Is that right?
Yes. Sorry, Rodney, I was so late because
Yeah, no, we always love having you, Paco.
yes.
And yeah, it's a very intriguing. You know what you do know what it is, right, Paco?
Yes. Very
Yeah.
intriguing, huh?
And
But
we had
then
a
the
comment.
US flag.
Yeah, we've got that. And then also we've been looking at these water towers, and Ron points out the Midwest is flat, so it needs water towers. But
oh, that
in
makes sense.
California, we put them up in the hills because you need the water to be above where the users are.
Right. Oh my God, that actually makes sense. There's like a town in Morgan Hill that has a big water tower on it. Okay. Now I know.
So that's a golf ball on the left on a tee.
Yeah, it is a
Is that
golf
what
ball.
you're saying, Paco? And then over here is the flag for the hole. So when you're hitting up to the green, you're looking for the flag up there.
Nice.
So it's the beginning and the end of a hole at golf.
That's so great.
True. Oh my
That
God.
is great.
Surreal.
Was that Jeffrey? Was that does that
Very surreal pictures, Rodney.
is that an interpretation that hadn't occurred to you, Jeffrey?
Not at all. I was not thinking about golf at all with these photos.
That's
It
great.
totally can be golf. That's really interesting.
And yet it works.
There's the hole.
Mm, that's great.
We only have time for probably a couple more.
Yeah. I'll go through and find my favorites. This is definitely one of my favorites. Another
Yeah.
American flag. This is probably my second favorite American flag photo. What my teacher pointed out that I didn't even realize is inside the window it says American family. So it's kind of like talking about like the nuclear family or like suburban nuclear family.
What's
And
American Family Insurance?
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
we need to insure our families.
Right. Very true. And I just love the way the light filters through the flag, how it, is very strong on the side of the bush and then tapers out. Same thing with the pavement. Um, and
Blue light up there.
I like all the detail in the interior, and then
mhm.
that exterior sign is just like a white void blank,
Mhm.
that the sort of dialogue between those two opposites is always wonderful, when you see that.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I'm
great.
trying to say something, but he's muted.
No,
Oh, someone's trying to say something?
Paco's muted.
Paco's muted.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
I
he-
muted too.
yeah.
Okay, why don't we see one more photograph?
Okay.
And yeah, we've got the reference to Hopper. I'm a huge Hopper fan myself.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll settle on this one. These photos have gotten a lot of love, especially the right one. This is in Michigan City, Indiana. I love Indiana. It's so photogenic. Um, I I saw another photographer's work, and it had at an art show, and it had that tower in the background. And I went to him and I said, "Where is this tower? I need to go." And he's like, "It's in Michigan City, but don't tell anyone because everyone's gonna go there and take pictures of it." So I took the train out there, and it's crazy. It's a little neighborhood right next to this huge. I don't know if it's nuclear, but this giant power plant with a giant tower, and it was very surreal. So I really loved like how it loomed over the landscape and how it faded into the sky and all of that. So we were walking down this alley and I saw this is for the right-hand photo, this little house, and the house was so small and the building was so tall. I took that photo. These are on film, by the way, expired old film, and That photo is one of my favorites. I adore it.
Love it.
Comment from Gail. They said TV would be the death of movies. They said streaming would be the death of TV. What will be the long-term impact of camera phones on photography? Is everyone now a photographer? Can someone be a photographer and use digital / Photoshop? So can,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. You've had
Um,
these things, but what do you think, Jeffrey?
I think, you know, phones kind of democratized photography. Everyone could do it now. Anyone could take as many photos as they want. They just need to press a button. And I think, I really hope what it's doing is it makes people really like appreciate when someone doesn't do that, when someone slows down, uses a film camera, um, develops the film themselves when they take that picture. And it's happening. Like a lot of Gen Z is very interested in film and just analog work. So I think that that's what I'm hoping camera phone photography will make us do. Um,
Comment.
exactly. It makes everyone a photographer, but not a good photographer. Definitely not. But some people can be very good photographers with their phone. I've seen a lot of great phone photography.
We've got a comment from Ron, and I should just add, Ron is a very good photographer. So I love this. He says, phones make everyone a photographer. Doesn't make them a good photographer. You have to really work at it. And you clearly have, Jeffrey. This has been really fun going through this with you.
Mhm.
Thanks for taking us on this journey. And I hope the folks who've attended this or who see the recording that we're going to post on YouTube, you know, you're going to remember this, and maybe we'll be seeing Jeffrey's photographs down the road and kind of see his evolution as an image maker.
Mhm.
So thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Talking.
And I really love the comments and questions that were posed. I'm going to turn it back to Nikki. And Nikki, you'll tell us what's coming up next from the Community Living Campaign.
Okay, good. Hi, that was really fun looking at all these great pictures, especially part of the country that I am not familiar with. It was really interesting, and I love the car stuff too. I'm all about
I'm
the
glad.
cars. I love
I'm glad.
cars. Yeah, thank you so
Me
much.
too,
This
Nikki.
was- Yeah, cars rule. Sorry, Rodney, but cars rule.
Well, the Jeffrey's a cyclist now. Don't forget that.
Oh,
I love trains, I love cars, I love bikes, I love it all. And I love planes too. I love it
Great.
all. It's all great.
Good. Well, let me tell you about tonight. Tonight, Rodney's going to be here. Not Rodney.
My
Richie.
good friend, Richie Unterberger.
I'm gonna be there, Rodney.
Rocco's going to be there. I'll be there.
And he's going to do the Lost British Invaders. So that'll be interesting. And somebody who was not an invader, but who we adore, Paul McCartney. We're going to talk about his photographs next time here with
2
Rodney.
weeks. That's
So
right.
It's going to be August 25th. So I'll see you all then. And
Yeah, let me just add that Richie Unterberger will be the guest in 2 weeks. Our beloved rock historian. So he'll have a lot of really interesting
That's gonna
insights
be
in those images.
that's going to be a big draw. Wow, it's going to be a big crowd that day. Good. Yeah, well, I'll see you all then. Thank you, Rodney, and everybody else on the program today.
Great. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Cody.
Yeah.
Bye, Ann.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks.
Nikki.
Bye, Paco.
Thank
Thanks, Jennifer.
you.
Bye.
Bye, Jeffrey.
Bye-bye.